Starting off number 10 now, we have Lisa. We're starting right away with a very creepy one here, and it's also very long too, so let's just get right into the story that this little girl wrote. This is Lisa. She is my friend. My mum and dad can't see her, so they said she is an imaginary friend. Lisa is a nice friend. Today I tried to plant a flower in the yard. I tried to plant it by the sandbox, but Lisa said that's where her daddy is sleeping, so I planted it in a cup of dirt. Lisa is at school with me today. I brought her for show and tell, but Mrs. Monroe got angry because she can't see Lisa. Lisa got sad, so she hid the chalkboard eraser. Yesterday was my birthday party. Mom brought pizza, but no one came. Lisa said people came on the porch and then left, but they left presents. I got 3 Barbies and some shoes and $5. Me and Lisa played Barbies. Mrs. Monroe is absent today. Our substitute is named Mrs. Digman. She is pretty and nice and is letting us have a snack time after diary time. I wish Mrs. Digman can stay our teacher. Yesterday, Lisa and me went on a long walk until the moon came out. Daddy got really mad and said Lisa is stupid and fake. Lisa got sad and disappeared. Today, she can't come to school, but Mrs. Digman said Mrs. Monroe won't come back. Daddy was at work all day yesterday. He didn't even come home to eat dinner. Today, he is still at work. Mom packed me a pudding in my lunch today. Pudding is my favourite. I miss Lisa. Daddy is really busy at work. He didn't come home at the weekend. Mom is angry at him. I'm going to write a letter for Lisa. Dear Lisa, I miss you. Please come back. I'm sorry when my dad was mean. You are my best friend. Lisa came back yesterday. She said sorry for leaving and I told her my dad won't come home. Lisa said Mrs. Monroe and him are sleeping like her dad. I hope they wake up soon. What do you even say about that? I mean, yeah, I guess Lisa killed them all. Normally I make a funny remark about these stories, but I don't think things end well for people who upset Lisa, so let's just move on. Next up at number 9 now, we have Satan. This one was posted to Reddit by user Andy Doomshroom. He shared a few pictures that he did when he was 8 or 9 years old. The first one looks a little creepy, just some sort of shadowy spectre smudged across the page. The second one looks a little bit creepier still, looks like something some kind of executioner would wear, or perhaps it's a prisoner tied up. But here's where it steps up a level. Look at this one. Yes, that is the devil. When I first saw this, I thought the text was written in some sort of demonic language. Fortunately, it's actually written in Finnish. Okay, but unfortunately the text is very creepy. It reads, "He lives inside of you. You surrender to him with pleasure. He is Satan." But that is wrong. Whoa, the guy who posted this didn't seem to remember what he meant by all of it when he was a kid, or where he even got the idea from. Perhaps he blocked out the memory altogether, because it's messed up. Next up at number 8 now, we have Stranger. This one was posted to Reddit by a user called Candy Slave. He said he works at a restaurant where they put kids' drawings up on the wall after the family has finished their meal. One night he wasn't working there, but his co-worker was. The co-worker sent him this picture that a child drew, and it freaked everyone out who worked there. He said the child was about 8 to 12 years old and just left it on the counter before walking out. As we can see, the title of it appears to be I Want to Die. We've got a stranger there with a very long neck holding a sword in one hand and what looks to me like a gun in the other. Then we've got a label saying that this is the kid lying on the floor with a bullet wound and bleeding. The final label right there says arms. At first I thought it might be arms as in guns. Those arms look a lot like human arms, especially because he's actually missing his arms as he lies on the ground. People on Reddit were divided about what was going on with this kid. Some said it was just a normal thing for kids to draw creepy things like this from time to time. Others thought there might be something more serious going on at home for him. What do you guys think? Next up at number 7 now, we have Slenderman. I'm sure many of you guys who are fans of all things horror will know who Slenderman is. The legend goes that he is a thin, tall creature with a featureless face and always wearing a suit. He traumatizes and abducts people, especially children. So you can imagine how scared this parent was when their 5-year-old son drew this picture. That looks like a suit to me, the same one Slenderman wears. There's even the red tie right there. We've also got 3 different stages. We've got the classic featureless face on the right, but then he seems to transform. His face grows eyes and a huge mouth with one tooth. His neck length quadruples in size. Is this what the kid saw sometime? Is he just drawing what he remembers from the night before? I really hope not. Next up at number 6 now, we have Hulk Smash. It's not very often I get to talk about pop culture and scary things in the same video. This picture has let me do just that. This one was drawn by a 10-year-old. The title is Hulk Smashes, The Kardashians. It's a 3-panel comic. The first panel features 2 Kardashian sisters, chatting it up. One of them says, "I just got a tan." The other replies with, "I just got married for 72 whole minutes." They both say yay. Then, out of nowhere, the Hulk appears and just crushes them. He crushes them so hard their heads just disappear completely. There is no explanation for this. There is no meaning to it. There is only Hulk, the Kardashians, and death. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. I guess that's what fear does to you. Moving on to number 5 now, we have 100. People say that homework is scary. Nobody wants to do it, but sometimes it really can be scary. This picture was floating around online in 2012. It appears to belong to a kid called Graham. He was asked, "What will you be doing when you're 100 years old?" Graham simply says, "Breaking out of my tomb." Wow, that means Graham has already grasped the concept of death at age 5, knows it will happen to him before he reaches 100, and that he will also beat death itself by breaking out of his own tomb on his 100th birthday. Good for you, Graham. Hopefully you're not a child demon who has already done this before. Moving on to number 4 now, we have Valerie. This one was posted to Imgur by Sea Dog Fly in 2013. They said their cousin babysits a child who is not very fond of her. Her name is Valerie. One day Valerie found this letter in his room. He had left it on his desk. It was addressed to her, reading, "Dear Valerie, get out of my life." And there is Valerie, head lopped off by a giant axe. Now it looks to me like the cut was so quick and clean that her motionless body was just left standing there when she died, looking as shocked as Valerie presumably was when she found that card. When this was posted to Imgur, there were a lot of comments from people freaking out at just how creepy it is. One person said the random dots made it extra creepy. Another only had some advice for Valerie, telling her to jog at an increasing pace. Wise words. Next up at number 3 now, we have the imaginary friend. This one was posted to the subreddit of WTF. If you know what that stands for, you'll know what kind of things get posted there. There isn't so much of a story attached to this one, but I think that might be a good thing. All I know is that a girl was asked to draw a picture of her imaginary friend. Now this is what she drew. That's her on the left, looking pretty normal except for her eyes. Perhaps that has something to do with the imaginary friend standing there right next to her. The first thing you'll notice is that the friend doesn't have 2 arms, she actually has 10. Then if we move up, we can see that her head seems to be detached from her torso. Now you guys might say, that's just a mistake, but the girl didn't do that with the drawing of herself. Finally, what is going on in the middle of that face? Instead of a nose or a mouth, there seems to be an actual portal to hell opening up there. All in all, I'd rate this creepy out of 10. Next up at number 2 now, we have the water slide. This one was posted to Twitter by Brian Sack. He's an American writer, and in 2015 his 11-year-old kid made him a birthday card. It was unusual, to say the least. Instead of the usual birthday greetings, we have this drawing. The title is "Life's a Water Slide Where You Die at the End." And there at the start of the water slide we have a baby. You'll notice that the baby is smiling. It doesn't stay that way for long. By the time you get to a teenager, they already look quite worried by life. As an adult, they're looking scared, and by middle age, they're practically screaming. At the end, they are ejected from the slide as an old person. That's right, they're literally flung out of life and into the void. This is my favourite bit though. We've got a helpful label that simply informs the dad of where exactly he is on this death slide. He is here, right between middle age and death. Does this 11-year-old have a twisted sense of humour, or are they just twisted? Let me know your thoughts on this. And finally, number 1 now, we have The Promise. This one was shared by a girl who simply said, "My 6-year-old sister was in a fight with my dad, so she drew this." And there we have it, drawn in pen as red as blood. The 6-year-old girl is bringing what looks like a chainsaw to her dad's neck. I'm guessing it's a chainsaw. I think those are teeth blades. Of course, the dad is crying, which you would be too if someone took a chainsaw to your neck, or maybe he's crying blood, I don't know. Perhaps even creepier than that is the warning at the bottom. This is going to happen to you. I mean, I say that's a warning, but to be honest, it sounds a lot more definite than that. It sounds like a promise. I never thought I'd need to say this, but keep that 6-year-old away from a chainsaw. Starting off at number 10 now, we have this. Why can't daddy see her? There we've got a little girl who's looking very upset, but it's not because of her angry dad in front of her, it's because of whatever that is in the closet. Seriously, what is that? Whatever it is, it's the only thing smiling in this picture. Okay, let's talk about the dad. Why is he so angry? It could be because he has no feet, but it could be because for the millionth time he has to deal with his daughter crying all night about a monster. As the title suggests, he can't see the monster. As his face suggests, he doesn't believe it even exists. I don't blame him though. What would you guys do? Would you just believe the kid? probably, if you've seen any 80s movies. Either way, it certainly makes for a creepy picture. Next up at number 9 now, we have a drawing that says, "The girl next to me is pretty, I collect her hair." Then we've got a drawing of the girl along with a helpful label of hair and scissors being held by the kid who's drawing the picture. I mean, this is just unnerving, isn't it? Imagine being a parent and finding out that another kid is hoarding your kid's hair at their home. Every single day, they snip a little bit more and they take it home. Maybe they put it in a jar or something. What's the end game here? What's the plan? What can you do with a pile of someone's hair? Maybe the kid has some sort of creepy calendar where they stick the hair to each date. Do you know what I mean? I just made that up, and now I'm worried that I thought of that so easily. I now sound creepier than the creepy kid I'm talking about. Good job, Danny. Let's just move on to the next one. Next up at number 8 now, we're going to pan from the left to the right with this one. At first we have Mummy, and then Julian, then Daddy. That's very nice. And there's the taking boy. What a great way to ruin a family portrait. Mummy is smiling, Julian is, and so is Daddy. But the taking boy, well, what is even going on there? He is featureless in every sense of the word, from head to toe. There's just nothing. Well, there isn't nothing there, really. The kid who drew the taking boy wanted to make it very clear that the boy is made up of some sort of black swirly thing. Maybe it's smoke. He certainly doesn't look like the normal humans to the left. And why is he called the taking boy? At first I thought this was the talking boy, which is pretty creepy, but the taking boy, what's that? What does he take? Is he going to take Julian away? I can't wait for the next episode of this, Julian and the Taking Boy. Netflix, call me. Coming at number 7 now, we have this disturbing image. You may see that we've blurred out part of the writing in this one, but probably guess what it says. So it's blank you, Emily, die. Right, now let's break down this picture. I know who Emily is because she's been helpfully labelled on her bed, but the rest of these creatures, I'm not really sure what's going on. Are they all supposed to be the same creatures but in different stages of the attack? There's some creepy little turtle flipper looking dude at the window with red eyes. Then there's another guy with red eyes, a mask, I think, and a body that looks like an oversized tie. He's also got forks for hands. Okay, now that I'm looking at him again, he is pretty scary. The one that's attacking Emily in the picture is some kind of horrific sock puppet from hell with a mullet haircut. I think it's going to suck her soul out, perhaps. I'm not sure, but either way, they all make a lot more sense than the last one in the bottom right. What is that? It looks like a torn up Batman symbol has come to life. I mean, I can laugh at it now, but we all know that would be very terrifying if it did come to life. The whole thing is just very creepy. I feel bad for Emily and worried for the kid who drew this. Let's just move on. Next up at number 6 now, we are not left guessing at all what this kid wants us to know. You will die. I like how the word die has its own special bubble writing. You gotta take extra care to make the word die look nice, you know. But what's going on with the rest of the picture? That girl is reading a piece of paper that again says, "You will die." She's sitting opposite either a giant marble or a tiny planet, and the whole scene is taking place in a cave, I think, or a monster's jaw. I mean, what was this kid trying to convey with this? You might think it's just aimless nonsense, but they've clearly chosen these objects and words for a reason. I'm not sure if I really want to know the reason though. Moving on to number 5, we have this. That says the monstre from the closet. I'm going to presume they mean monster, unless monstre is the French version of a monster. Anyway, look at this monster. At first glance, it seems to be your classic scary Japanese horror movie girl. You know, the ones that crawl out of wells or TVs. You never see her face until she's about to kill you. That one. This one looks a bit different though. While most of the drawing is black and white, the kid wanted to make it very clear that this monster is wearing a green dress. They also seem to have drawn very bony looking kneecaps. Do you see what I mean? Is that meant to mean broken legs or something? I'm not sure. If we look at the closet, we can also see a yellow light shining through. What's that? Maybe it's a portal leading to the monster's homeworld. Maybe I'm analysing this small child's picture too much. Next up at number 4 now, we have what looks like a letter or a message of some sort. The text reads, "Hi, how are you doing in hell? Love, Joey. To Dad and Dead." Not really sure what Dead is. In the middle there, we can see what looks like the devil. I think he's sandwiched between 2 layers of rock with flames everywhere. Then we've got what I think is the sun over there to the right, a scorching sun to burn everyone. But there doesn't seem to be anyone to burn. It's just a smiling devil in hell. No people and no Dad or Dead in there either, whoever they are. You know, I try and keep these videos light-hearted, but when I was looking at this one, I couldn't help but feel sorry for this Joey kid. Judging from the drawing, he can't be much older than 7 or or 8, and yet the drawing just screams of hatred. Imagine how much he must hate his dad and whoever this DED person is to wish hell upon them. Perhaps that's creepier than anything he could draw with some pens and paper. Moving on to number 3 now, we have, well, I don't even know where to start with this one. Let's see what you guys make of it. I think it's a female demon, witch, skeleton, zombie, scarecrow ghost. That's just my guess though. Let me know what you think of it. Whatever it is, we can see the heart clearly visible in the chest. That is very, very weird. It's not the only bit of red in the drawing here though. We've also got something hanging off the arm there to the right. Now at first I thought this was a big ball, but now I think it's a basket. There seems to be a heart draped over the side of that basket. So does that mean this thing collects hearts to keep itself alive? If so, that's terrifying. If the kid has drawn this, does that mean they've also seen it in real life? I know some paranormal fans out there may argue that perhaps this creature is seen by people all over the world, but this kid is one of the rare ones who actually survived to tell the tale, or, make this creepy drawing. Next up at number 2 now, we have something that is both creepy and funny. You may not think that's possible, but wait till you see this. Here we have a drawing from young Jack McGovern. Thank you, Jack. Jack says, if I caught a leprechaun, I would kill him. Again, thank you, Jack. What a lovely story. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Jack, I must know more. I know if you caught a leprechaun, you would kill him, but how? Well, thankfully, Jack has also given us a very helpful diagram here. The guy on the left is carrying a walking stick, I think, with one hand and throwing a net over the leprechaun with the other. The guy on the right seems to be a red, angry mess who is stabbing the leprechaun with a blade, an arrow? Not really sure. It probably hurts either way. So that's how Jack would kill a leprechaun. I love how I've not even asked the important question of why he would do that. I've seen so many of these pictures now that I've stopped questioning the crazy motives behind this creepy violence. I just accept it. And finally, number 1 now, we have a scene of little Timmy being put to bed by, I presume, his older brother. The text reads, "Mom will be so proud I got Timmy to sleep." Sounds sweet, but then we look down to see the method used to get Timmy to sleep. It's a pretty permanent one. It's murder. Yeah, unfortunately his technique is to just smother baby Timmy in his own blanket after dragging him out of his crib. I also find the manic grin on the face quite disturbing. I'm hoping that this picture was found before anything bad happened, It could be that the kid was planning to do this in the future. She will be proud. Maybe it hasn't happened yet. Maybe they'll sit him down and explain that he should never ever do this. I'm going to try and think that's the case because the alternative is a little too disturbing to think about.
Coming into number 10, we have the coffee shop massacre. Wanna go for a coffee with mum and order a little baby Chino? My sister takes her 2 and 4-year-old kids out for coffee with her all of the time. It's nice for the kids to get out of the house and for my sister to chat with other mums in the village. I'm sure that she would love it if one of her kids came home and drew her a little picture of their day out, but imagine her horror if she looked down and this is what she saw. Seriously, can you imagine if your kid drew this? There is a lot to unpack here. Obviously, things have not gone well at the Hazelnut coffee shop. Or wait, does that say Hans's coffee shop? I'm not sure. It seems that 3 people have been stabbed inside and 1 decapitated outside. The walls of the shop may or may not have been painted in the victim's blood. We see not 1, but 3 perpetrators. 1 slightly out of frame and 1 small girl. Little children holding knives, no. There's a gentleman towards the back who's smiling as well. Perhaps he's in on it, or perhaps he hasn't seen what horrors await him yet. For me though, the real evil in this image is this tiny small fellow wearing black. He's got inward turned knees and elfish ears, and he's smiling and raising his hands in glee. I will bet that he called for this. What schemes are hiding under that sharp back suit? I just don't think I want to know. Coming into number 9, we have Deathmas. Hooray! It is a classic, isn't it? Christmas is a bit of a disturbing time for kids. An unknown man enters the family home via the unconventional use of a chimney and leaves gifts in a sock, but only if you've been good. How can he possibly know if you were good or not? Well, as the fable goes, he sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. So how does this psychological horror manifest for children? Let's have a look, shall we? Actually, I have 2 Christmas pictures for you here because why not? I'm a giver. Let's have a look at the first one, shall we? Yep, seems about right. Good old Satan doing his thing. And what else have we got? What would a Christmas dream look like? Yep, a scary living log with hair using an axe to murder an elf. Ho ho ho, Merry Deathmas indeed. Have we got any Sarahs watching this video? Sarah? Are you out there, Sarah? Hello, Sarah. Ground control to Sarah. Someone's left this note for you at number 8. If terrible spelling could kill, then Sarah would be long dead after receiving this nasty little note. It reads, or I think it reads, "Dear Sarah, I know how much you love me, but I love you even more when you are dead." Oh. Underneath the note is what looks like a thunderous sky, a gravestone, a bloodied spade, and a female mourner crying. I don't believe that this could be the aforementioned Sarah. I think that actually Sarah might have been hit with the spade and is in the ground. This girl mourning, unlike the author and artist, is pretty sad that Sarah has died. R.I.P. Sarah. In all seriousness though, if this is your kid, you kind of need to have like an amnesty with that child. Like, just exchange it in for one that isn't creepy. I'm only joking. Kind of. How is Rapunzel? Oh, she's doing okay at number 7. Glad you asked. While this is scary, I have to say, part of me does find this hilarious and also kind of cute. It seems that this kid had some fun with cutting and sticking, and actually this is kind of a work of storytelling art. So, yeah, this is quite the piece to deconstruct. Not at all open to interpretation, the artist had an adult type a note to explain the piece. They said, "This is a big green guy that ate Rapunzel. That's her sitting in his tummy. I put 3 check marks by her because she's doing okay in there. I mean, she's been gobbled alive by a giant green fellow. It's not my idea of a party, but it's good to know that she is doing okay. Hang on in there, Rapunzel. Maybe he'll get a hairball stuck in his throat from all your luscious locks and cough you up. Regurgitation station. Here's hoping." Coming into number 6, we have monsters brought to life, and I am not here for it, I'm scared. I want to tell you about the horrifying tale of Reality Dad. Reality Dad is a man named Tom. He's a father of 2 children. He started a very successful project called Things That I Have Drawn. He started turning his children's drawings into real life looking images, and actually, they're truly scary. Do you want to see what's happening with the Queen of England? I don't think you do, but here she is. Proves a few conspiracies right? This half man, half pig, half mutant thing will haunt my dreams for a very long time. Also, what is this? I think we have a new contender for creature creepier than the Babadook. Tom's Instagram account has amassed him over 200,000 followers, but still, I do not want to meet any of these creatures down a dark alley or just, you know, ever. Rest assured at number 5, God is with you. To some people, this phrase would be a comfort, but not like this. Definitely not like this. It seems a class of kids were asked to draw pictures for active military personnel serving abroad. It must be tough fighting for your country, or your country's political leaders, so getting cute pictures from kids would be a little relief from the rigors of emotional perils and warfare. So, you open up your little letter from the young hearts of the next generation and you see this. Oh. Cool. It's just a picture of me blowing out the brains of an unarmed civilian at close range, or I don't know, maybe that isn't what it is, but either way, they have a shot. They've shot another soldier, maybe? There's guns, there's death. The cross eyes and flailing arms don't make things look so great for the other fighter here. War is brutal, war is cruel. God is with you, and this little art piece to hang on the walls of your bunker. You're welcome. Coming into number 4, we have my house. I remember in school when we were asked to draw a picture of our house. Now, I used to live in a bungalow, which was interesting to all of the other kids in my classes. They all lived in 2 floors or more, but my house had just 1. Blows the mind of a 5-year-old. I remember drawing my mom and my dad and my sister and my cat called Dylan. This kid though, what is happening in this kid's house? Posted on Imgur, this parent was pretty concerned, and I can absolutely see why. They said, "My son drew this today. I'm afraid to go to sleep." Honestly, I absolutely would be too. Now the kid wrote, "These people live in my house." Do they? Do they? The lineup is from bottom right to left to the top. We've got a snake, a man with an anvil for a head and red eyes who looks like he's hungry, and he's politely asking if you are on the menu. A Jack Skellington looking fellow with a concerning look of intent in his eyes. A blue-faced, flamed-haired peril whose motives are unclear, and the ghost of a dead banana. And don't forget the horned fairy at the top sprinkling doom and gloom atop the house. A plague. A plague. This is one house that I would not like to have tea at, no matter how good the snacks. Like, no, I'm not going. I'm just not going. Coming in at number 3, we have the Tower of Terror. Did anyone else visit the Tower of Terror at Disneyland's California studios before it closed down? I did, and I have to say, it was scary. Although this little drawing makes it look like a paid vacation to literal heaven. So, I'm all for an imagination, but this visualization of a death factory makes me feel not good. Not good. Are you listening, kid? Not good. So it looks like this building's name is Big Tower. Why? Well, because it says it in huge letters on a billboard at the top, kind of a bit like the Trump Tower in Chicago. So, similarities, they're there. This building really is top to bottom horror. The building is home to a giant maniac man who seems to be in the business for taking on some victims. Then we have an upper level that houses a suicide door, which, I don't know, is it a choice between the door or the maniac? If you cast your eyes to the top of the building, you will see what looks like a smaller maniac shortly after throwing 7 people off the top. Now, do they have superhuman strength? Well, that is up for debate. Not up for debate though is the fate that the Fallers will meet at the bottom of the presumably flame retardant building. It's a fiery pit replete with a quote unquote lava guy. Good. Great. Kids. Creeps. Oh good. At number 2, they're watching you. Of course they are. Kids are pretty creepy in my opinion, but the kid who drew this is next level. Imagine if your child came home to present you with this. I'm watching you with a bright red eyeball. I mean, would you mind maybe not watching me? Is this why we give kids iPads so they can focus their creepy little eyes on something else instead? This is all very impending doom Eye of Sauron stuff. Who can enjoy its terrible gaze? Honestly, not me. I'd be popping that one straight in the drawer, firmly away. Finally, coming into number 1, we have the Stalker. Just some background information for you. This woman's 4-year-old daughter drew this horrifying picture. Now they gleefully presented it to her like they weren't actually a creep, and then they told her that this is the monster that follows her around, but she simply doesn't see it. Dear Mum, here's the monster following you. It's awful. Honestly, thank you for that stressful information. I absolutely could have lived without it. Seriously though, what in the fresh hell is this thing? And if I was the mum, I'd be wondering how there's space for it in my house. And if it watches me sleep at night. Does it have neck wings? You bet it does.
Starting off this countdown, we have the exploding head. This picture was posted on Reddit by the user MataCR. Apparently, they were visiting an elementary school when they saw some cute drawings done by kids. However, among the drawings, there was one pretty disturbing one. It featured a person with a huge face, small blue eyes, and a large mouth. What's scary is how the mouth is open wide, making it look like he's screaming. And then their teeth and mouth are all bloody. On top of that, it looks like their head exploded with blood and other colors flying out from it. This Caillou looking kid looks like he is in a lot of pain. Seriously, this image looks like it's of some kind of deranged creature. I don't want to know who it's supposed to be a drawing of, and I hope I never meet them. In our 9th spot, we have the hidden room. So this next drawing was done by a 6-year-old girl named Sophia. Her dad asked her and his son to make a map of their house for fun. Oh my gosh, that rhymed so well. Wow. So Sophia ended up drawing her family members in her favorite room in the house. Now there's just one problem with that. The place she drew doesn't exist in her house. Or so that's what her dad thought. She said that her favorite room is the secret room behind her bedroom. On top of that, she drew 2 extra family members that appear to be 2 twins with no face. They're apparently the people that showed her the room. Her dad asked to be taken to this secret room, and turns out it actually exists. She took her dad into the bathroom and she crawled into a crawl space behind some pipes. Since her dad was too big to go into the space, he had Sophia take a picture of the room to show him. And turns out it's a real room. A pretty creepy one to add. I'm just more concerned about those 2 weird twin ghost things that she mentioned, hello? Moving on to number 8, we have the Slendermans. Okay, take a look at this next drawing and try to convince me that this kid did not just draw 3 different versions of Slenderman. Come on. So this was posted on Reddit by the user Ace Ominous. He claims that his 5-year-old drew him a picture of his imaginary friends. Well, that's comforting. Your son is literally friends with not one, but 3 Slendermans. Like, one has no face, just like Mr. Slendy, and they all are in a suit, just like the one he wears. So, even if it's not supposed to be Slenderman, this kid's got some pretty creepy imaginary friends. Moving on to number 7, we have the alien friend. So it might just be that this next kid has been in contact with aliens. So this young girl created a photo of her holding hands with her best friend. Oh, it's cute, right? Well, it would be, except her best friend is an alien. Or at least that's what it appears to be. In the drawing, she is shown holding hands with a dark, shadowy figure with typical alien eyes. Now, she drew grass on the ground and there's a tree in the background, meaning that she might have met this friend outside somewhere. Could it be that she has met a real-life alien? Or is it just a case of wild imagination? In our 6th spot, we have the murderer. Sometimes we underestimate what kids are capable of, which can be quite scary, especially when you take a look at this next drawing. Apparently, a dad and his 6-year-old daughter got in a fight. Shortly after, his daughter drew this picture for him. The image shows her dad bawling his eyes out as he gets his head sawed off by his daughter. Take a look, and his daughter has a big smile on her face. She's a little too excited to be killing her dad. And at the bottom of the picture, it reads, "This is going to happen to you." Wow, I would lock up all sharp objects in the house. I wouldn't take any chances. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the spider friend. According to this next dad, his daughter came up to him and showed him this drawing. That's when she said, and I quote, "Hi Dad, this is my friend. You can't see her, but she has spiders on her face and dark holes in her eyes. That's where she sucks your soul through." Ooh, okay, that's a lot. Okay. First off, why is your child drawing on like tissue paper? That alone is pretty scary. No, I'm just kidding, but it kind of looks like tissue paper. But dang, her friend is pretty scary looking. Like she has 4 legs and 10 arms, and she has spiders all over her face, and that straight up sounds like a monster from a horror movie. And to top things off, she has soul-sucking abilities? Yeah, no thanks. Also, why does it look like her head is just about to pop off? That just makes it that much more creepier. In our 4th spot, we have the stalker. A social worker was given this image from a child she worked with. The child had drawn it claiming that it was the woman who had followed him home. First off, that child is pretty good at drawing. But secondly, she looks so creepy. Look at those big black empty eye sockets and those giant lips. She definitely is not a human. There's no way. She has to be some sort of evil spirit or something. Somebody called the SCP Foundation because there's an escaped SCP on the loose. In our 3rd spot, we have the closet ghost. So this image speaks for itself. We see a grumpy looking dad looking like he just finished scolding his daughter. Behind him, the closet is open and a black ghost with red demonic eyes and arms coming out from her head can be seen. Then the words, "Why can't daddy see her?" is on the image. So here's what I'm thinking. Clearly this girl can see a demon in her closet and is terrified by it. She keeps telling her dad that there's something lurking in her closet, but he can't see it, so he doesn't believe her. But she is repeatedly seeing this ghost demon thing and freaking out and telling him, and he starts getting annoyed and frustrated. Poor little girl, that demon looks terrifying. Let's hope that she's safe and the demon doesn't get to her. In our 2nd spot, we have Tonso. If we take a look at this next drawing, it's not that scary looking. I mean, it just looks like an abstract painting. You can't really decipher what it's of. But wait until you hear this kid's explanation for it. Apparently, this is a picture of something named Tonso. I'm gonna say something because I don't know if it's a human ghost or if it's a creature. I don't know, it's a something. Tonso is the girl's ancestor. Not only that, he visits her by coming through the mirror. You know what else comes through the mirror at night? Spirits. I mean, hey, Tonso may actually be who he claims to be. Or if we want to scare ourselves, we can believe that he's an evil trickster spirit trying to gain control of this poor little girl. But seriously, did she have to use red paint for this? It just makes it more unsettling because it looks like blood. And in our number 1 spot, we have the hangman. And I'm not talking about the fun little game I wish I was. This next kid drew an image of all of their family members, their 2 siblings and parents. But it's not a typical drawing. They drew all of their family members with nooses around their neck and they're being hung by it. Again, I would not sleep if I was living in the same house as that kid. Also, the fact that they are drawn without any faces makes this image that more terrifying. Seriously, maybe keep an eye on this kid.